Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi barakatuh. Karibuni tena kwa channel yetu Mind Mastery Tutor, na kama kawaida leo tunafanya hii paper, tutafanya paper maswali mingi, so it will be a very lengthy session. So without further ado, let's start the session. So hii ni sequences, so this is series and sequences. So the sequences. So the 5th and 10th terms of an AP are 60 and 45 respectively. Question A, find the common difference and the first term. So common difference hapa haujui, first term pia haujui. But your nth term, hii ni AP, nth term of any AP is given by A plus n minus 1 times D. Tamam. So hapa ikiwa tafuta 5th term, so the 5th term itakuwa ni A plus 5 minus 1 times your D ambao hatujui, which is equal to 60. So 5 minus 1 ukipata itakupa A plus 4D. So A plus 4D equal to 60. Now your 10th term pia is the same thing. A plus 10 minus 1. So 10 minus 1 times D equal to 45. So basically 10 minus 1 again utakupa 90. So yapunguka yani. So hii ni 9D. So you have two equations, equation mbili hapa. So let's say this one is our equation. First equation, A plus 9D equal to 45. And the second equation, A plus 4D equal to 60. So hiyo ndo equation 1, equation 2. So let's subtract them. So ukisubtract A na A yatoka 9 minus 4D, 9D minus 4D ni 5D, na 45 minus 60 ni negative 15. So ukiangalia vizuri, so 5D equal to negative 15. So ukidivide na 5, D is equal to negative 3. So that's your common difference. Your A, waweza chukua end of the equation. Let me take this one. A plus 4D equal to 6. So A plus 4 times negative 3 equal to 60. A 4 times negative 3 minus 12 equal to 60. So plus 12. So A equal to 72. So A ni 72, D ni negative 3. So your common difference, wacha niandike hapa, is negative 3 and the first term is 72. So tayari. Question B, determine the least numbers of terms of the AP which must be added together so that the sum of the progression is negative. Hence find the sum. Wacha nichore line. So which must be added together. So yeah. So remember that the sum is given by of any AP is n over 2 into bracket A plus n minus 1 times D, not A. Okay, so that is the sum. So that's the formula for the sum, 2A plus n minus 1 times D. So the progression, or the sum of the progression, should be negative. So it should be less than 0, that is, because any number which is negative is usually less than 0. You've been told, hence find the sum. Okay, hence find the sum. So it's not asking you for the n, but finding the sum itself. So this is the sum, because let's see, do you know determine the least number of terms? We don't know the number of terms, so you say it's n. The first term is usually 2 times this is 72, so it's basically times 72 plus n minus 1 times your common difference, which you know is negative 3. This should be less than 0. So n over 2, 70 times 2 is 144. If you take n times negative 3 gives you negative 3n, negative 1 times negative 3 gives you positive 3n, which is less than 0. I can remove the 2 by multiplying 2 and 2. So but 0 times 2 just remains to be 0. So I just remain with n into bracket 144. Is this is minus, this is positive 3, not positive 3n. So minus 3n plus 3. So basically I know that 144 plus 3 gives me 147. So this 3 goes away. So I remain with 147 minus 3n. So yeah, so let's open up. So 147 times n gives you 147n, and minus 3n times n, it gives you minus 3n squared, which is less than 0. The negative 3n I can put it the other side, as a peleka the other side, 3n squared, which is less than, but let me try before even putting it the other side. I know that n is my common factor, so let me factor it out. So it's 147 minus 3n less than 0. So n can be less than 0, which is not possible, but I can say that 146.7 minus 3n should be less than 0. So also the same thing, positive 3n now greater than 147 divided by 3, n should be greater than, so 147 divided by 3 gives you 49. So n, the number of terms, should be greater than 49. So yeah, so which I think n is supposed to be 50, because if you put 49 there, if you put 49 into that expression of n over 2 into bracket 2a plus n minus 1 times d, it most probably gives you a value which is 0 itself. Okay, so I'm trying to substitute it to see whether it gives me an answer which is less. So if I put 49 there into 144 minus 3n plus 3, okay, which is this one, let me put here rather than going the long way. So I can put 144 minus 3 times 49 plus 3, which gives me 0. Even if I times by n by over 2, it gives me 0. So yeah, but if I put 50, it gives me more than 0. So 144 minus 3n, which is 3 times 50 plus 3, it gives me negative 3, which is so n should be 50. I'm not sure why it is telling me like that. Okay, it gives me less than 0. Okay, it's correct. It should give me negative as an answer. It gives me negative 3. So your n is 50. But now what's the sum when it's 50? So let me put there n over 2, 2a plus n minus 1 times d. So 50 divided by 2, 2 times a, which is 2 times 72, plus 50 minus 1, which is 49, times your common difference, which is negative 3. And let's see how much does it give you. 2 times 72 plus 49 times negative 3 times 25 should give me negative 75. So the sum of those 50 terms is negative 75. So yeah, it's very easy. Now the last question, question C, the 5th and 10th terms of the AP form the first 2 consecutive terms of a GP. Determine the 6th term of the GP. Okay, so the 5th and the 10th term, we know that the 5th above, the 5th term now is a plus n minus 1 times d. We say it is a plus 4d, and we now know our a and our d, so it's 72 plus 4 times negative 3, so which is basically 72 minus 12, which is 60. So that is 5th term. As for the 10th term, also is a plus 9d, so it's basically 72 plus 9 times negative 3, so 72 minus, I think, 27, if I'm not wrong. So 72 plus 9 times negative 3 is 45. So this is 45. Determine the 6th term of the GP. So the sixth term of the GP. Now let's determine the sixth term of the GP. The sixth term of the GP is given by a r power n minus 1. So yeah, so if your first term is 60, your second term is 45, because they tell you that the fifth and the 10th form the two consecutive terms of the GP. So it's 60, 45 followed by other numbers which you don't know, which you can know also. So your common ratio should be 45 divided by 60, right? So 45 over 60 is usually a common ratio. This is your R, and your R is 4. If you take 45 divided by 60, it should give you 0.75, which is 3/4. So your common ratio is 3/4. Your A is 60. So your sixth term is just basically your first term times your common ratio, which is 3/4 power, because you're searching for the sixth term, it should be 6 minus 1. So 60 times 3/4 power 5. You can also write it like 60 times 0.75 power 5. 3/4 is just the same as 0.75. So 60 times 0.75 raised to power 5. It should give me 14.224. Right, I'm also doing it again. So 3/4 power 5. It gives me again 14.24. 24 significant figures, so it's 14.24, and that is your answer. So now let's go to the other question. Okay, now the other question is about integration. Okay, the finding area using integration. Now the question is asking you that the diagram below, which is not drawn to scale, shows parts of the curve which is y equal to x squared plus 5 and the line y equal to 8 minus 2x. The line intersects the curve at points C and D. Lines AC and BD are parallel to the y-axis. Also, question A, determine the coordinates of C and D. So now, for you to determine the coordinates of C and D, basically what we need to do is write those two equations for the curve and for the line. So the curve and the line meet up with each other. So we know that, let me just change this. We know that y, okay, y equal to x squared plus 5. So where they intersect your points, which is C and D. So they intersect those two. The curve and the line intersect at C and D. So x squared plus 5, and the other one is y equal to 8 minus 2x. Okay, let me just draw first a line. Okay, now the intersecting, if the intersect means that, it means that you need to find the simultaneous equation of the two. This is equation 1, this is equation 2, but since all of them are y's, you can equate those expressions. So x squared plus 5 can be equated to 8 minus 2x. Okay, now let's put the negative 2x to the other side and also the 8 to the other side. So finally you'll get x squared plus 2x. You'll have plus 8 plus 5 minus 8. Because they're positive 8 will become negative 8, and the negative 2x becomes positive 2x, which is equal to 0. So you have x squared with about x squared plus 2x minus 3, which is equal to 0. Now decide for sum and product. Your sum is 2. Okay, sum ni 2. Acha nifute 2 iki 2. So sum ni 2, product yako ni negative 3. So kuna namba mbili ukiadd itakupa positive 2, na ukimultiply hizo namba mbili itakupa negative 3. So there are two numbers that if I add gives me 2, and if I multiply gives me negative 3. So which are those two numbers? So the combination of 3 is just only 1, 2. Basically you have 1 and negative 3, and you have negative 1 and 3. So which ones, if you add, gives you 2, that is negative 1 and 3. So if you factorize, just gives you x minus 1, and the other one is x plus 3 equal to 0. So x minus 1 equal to 0, therefore your first value of x will be 1. Now we have another one, x plus 3 equal to 0. So the second value for x is negative 3. Now we know that, let me use another one, which is a blue color. So we know that for you to get a value of y, you basically take one of this, but let me just take this. So y, so let's say if your x is 1, how much will be y? 8 minus 2x. So if your x is 1, 8 minus 2 times 1, your y will be 6. If your x, that is x equals 1. If your x is now negative 3, so it becomes 8 minus 2 times negative 3, which is just basically 8 plus 6, which is 14. So yeah, so the other number, the other value is when x is equal to negative 3. So you have two coordinates. You have one coordinate which is 1, 6, and you have another coordinate which is negative 3, 14. Now which one is C and which one is D? If you look at this, the D is usually has positive values for x and y. So most probably this is D, and most probably this is C, because if you look at C, the x value is usually on the negative and the negative x axis. So yeah, and the y value is usually higher, more. So your answer is C, negative 3, 14, and D, 1, 6. Now question B. Question B says use integration to calculate the area bounded by the curve and the x-axis between the points C and D. That is from negative 3. So negative 3 to 1. So yeah, so we need to integrate that range, that is 1, negative 3, using the which equation? Y equal to x squared plus 5. So x squared plus 5. Okay, I've written it, written a big thing, and we don't have that much space. So yeah, so 1 and negative 3. We need to find to integrate that one. Okay, so now if you integrate that one, what will you get, right? What will you get? Okay. Now integrate, it gives you, integration is basically about adding and then divide. So you need to add 1 here and then divide it by the summation. So it gives you x cubed over 3, and then if you have a number, you just put 5x. So basically there is C, but for definite integration you don't need a C because it will cancel out each other. So but let me just write it here. So you need to integrate from 1 and negative 3. So let's start with the 1. So you do 1 cubed divided by 3 plus 5 times 1. And the C, there does no need for you to write the C, which gives you how much? But let me do one the easiest way. So we know this is for 1, and then let's do for the negative 3. So negative 3 cubed divided by 3 plus 5 times negative 3. So which will also gives you an answer. So the first one gives you 5 plus 1 divided by 3 gives you 5.33. So this one gives you 5.333, and the other one should give you a negative. So if I take negative 3 cubed, then divide by 3 minus 15, negative 24. So the other one gives me negative 24, but the negative changes to become positive, so positive 24. So you're just calculating for your answer should be 29.33 square units. So it's very important for you to write that units. So square units. Now yeah, so we got the answer. So question C, calculate the area enclosed by the line CD, CA, BD and the x-axis. So what basically they're asking you to search for is this whole thing, which is here, right? And it looks like a trapezium for our case. So yeah, it really looks like a trapezium. Now since it's a trapezium, and the area for trapezium is given by a half times the sum of two parallel lines, A plus B times height. So your A is this, your B is this. and your height is basically from here to B, which is here, the whole of it. Okay, so yeah, so let's go down. So it's given by a half times A plus B times your height. So a half times A plus B, and you need to know C. So we know that our D is basically 1/6. So this is 1,6 and this is negative 3,14. Now our A is basically 14 because the y-axis for C is 14. So from here to here is just 14. And we know that from here B to D is 6. So our B is 6. So yeah. So you know B and we know A and B. And our height is from negative 3 to 1, which is basically 4. So our height is 4. So let's take a half times 14 plus 6, then times 4. So which gives you a half times 20 times 4. A half times 20 is 10. 10 times 4 is 40. So 40 square units again. So that's the other answer. The last question, hence determine the area of the shaded region. So basically you just subtract that one with this one or this one. So you take 4e or 40 minus 29.33. So 40 minus 29.33 gives you 10.67 square units, and basically that is your answer. Okay, this is another question on longitudes and latitudes. Two towns A and B lie on the same parallel of latitude, which is 60 degrees north. If the longitude of A and B are 42 degrees west and 29 degrees east, respectively, question A, find the distance between A and B in nautical miles along the parallel of latitude. Now, this one is parallel of latitudes is usually a small circle. And this is it happens when there's a difference in longitudes, but they have the same latitudes. So we know that A is 60 degrees north, 42 degrees west. B is also 60 degrees north because they lie on the same latitude, but 29 degrees is difference in longitudes. So for you to find nautical miles, you use this formula, which is theta. Theta is represented by difference in longitudes multiplied by 60 cos alpha, and alpha is represented by latitude. So yeah, so your theta is difference in longitudes. Now if you look at this and this, ukiona hizi mbili, moja ni west, nyingine ni east, ndo maana sasa tuta add. If they have difference in direction, you just add for you to get the difference. So 42 plus 29, then multiply to 60, then cos a latitude which is 60 degrees north. We don't write in the north. So yeah, so 42 plus 29 gives you 42 plus 29, most probably 60 something, say 71 or 60 even. So it's 71. So 71 times 60 cos 60. 71 times 60 cos 60. So 2130. So that is your answer. 2130. 30. So not 60. Should be 30. So 2130 nautical miles. So yeah. So find the local time at A if at B is 1 p.m. Now remember that the local time is found because of the longitudes. So yeah. So let's say if A, let's just write the longitudes. So the longitude for A is 42 degrees because this one is the one affecting time, and B is 29 degrees east. Okay. So if B is usually 1 p.m. okay, so it means that the A1 is behind the time of B, so iko nyuma yake. So kama kwa vile iko nyuma yake, hii time itapungua. Okay, so we know that 1 degree difference that you take for 1 degree difference in longitude is equal to 4 minutes. So you ask yourself, so the difference between this and this, we said is 60. What about, is it 60? No, it's 71. So about 71 degrees. We added those together. So 71 times 4. It gives you 71 times 4, 284 minutes. So it's 284 minutes. If you change it in terms of hours, it should be divided by 60. It should give you 4 hours and 44 minutes. So it's 4 hours and 44 minutes. Right. So yeah. But now that's not your final answer. So A is behind the time of B. So 1 p.m. or let's say 13:00 hours. Subtract 4 hours and 44 minutes. Right. So just let's see how much does it give you. So minus that, it should give you 8:16 a.m. Okay, it should give you 8:16 a.m. Or if you want to write it like this, 08:16 hours is allowed this one. Now we have 4 marks, so just remain with 6 marks. Right. Now find, question C is asking you to find the distance between A and B in kilometers. Now if you want to search for kilometers, and since this is a small circle, you use this formula, theta over 360 2 pi r cos alpha, or which is longitude, latitude. The difference in longitude is 71 over 360 times 2 times 22 over 7 times 6370 times cos alpha, which is cos of latitude, which is basically 60, so cos 60. So yeah, it gives you a direct answer. So 71 divided by 360 times 2 times 22 over 7 times 6370 times cos 60 to give you 3948.4. So it should give you 3948.4 or 0.39. So 3948.39. 3948.39 kilometers. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that is your answer. I can take divided by 1.853 to give you 2000. Yeah. And even if you change it into nautical miles, it gives you the answer which is very near to the one that we got above. So yeah, so that is your answer. Remember, 3948.39 kilometers. Now, so let's continue the last one. If C is another town due south of A, let's write for the A. And A, we say 60 degrees north. I don't know how many degrees west. 42 degrees west. Okay, 42 degrees west. And they're telling you C is down, is another town due south. So you don't know the difference in latitudes, which will say it's X. Okay, and it's 1001 kilometers away from A. So we know that they have the same longitudes because you didn't go east or west. You just remain on the same longitude, but the latitude changed. So now you've been given the distance, and distance of a great circle. Since this is a great circle, there's a difference in latitudes only. The longitudes are the same. So this is great circle, and the formula for great circle is theta, which is difference in latitudes over 360 times 2 pi r. There's no cos anything. So theta, we don't know theta. The difference in latitudes over 360 times 2 times 22 over 7 times r, which is 6370, should give you 1001 kilometers away. So yeah, so after that we need to find theta. So let's take 2 times 22 over 7 times 6370, then divide by 360. I think, yeah, let me rewrite it again. Times 6370 divided by 360 gives you 111.222. So 111.22 theta, which is equal to 1001, divided by 111.22 divided by 111.22. Theta will be 1001 divided by the answer. Theta is 9. So there's a difference of 9 degrees. This is not 9 degrees north or what. we know that there's a difference of 9 degrees. Now if you go south, it means that those two numbers, which is here and here, you subtracted. You can't add to give you 9. So you're supposed to take 60 minus x to give you 9, a difference of 9. So if the negative x goes to here, then this one goes here. So 60 minus 9 to give you x. So your x is 51. So basically, this is 51 degrees north. So the coordinates of C is 51 degrees north, 42 degrees west, and that is your answer. Yeah, good. Okay, let's do the last one. I don't want to do to make the video to be lengthy. So the last question says, Mr. Tembo earns a basic salary of 80,500, a house allowance of 25,000 shillings per month, and a transport allowance of 14,500 per month. A deduction of 1.5% of his gross income is made every month for the Affordable Housing Levy Fund, which is exempted from taxation. Is also entitled to a monthly personal tax relief of 1,400 or 1,400 shillings. The table below shows the tax rates during that year. So we have that table with us, 1 to 20,000, 10%, and the others as you see there. So anything that is 95,001 and above is usually taxed as a tax rate of 35%. Now calculate Roman 1 Mr. Tembo's taxable income per month, the monthly tax paid by Mr. Tembo, and the last loan is that the following deductions are also made from his monthly income: cooperative shares of 10,400 shares, cooperative loan of 28,500 shillings, and union dues of 1,500 shillings determine Mr. Tembo's net monthly salary, which is very easy. Now we know that Mr. Tembo's taxable income per month. Now be wary of this, because this is where most students failed last time also when they're doing the KCSE. So this one is usually a deduction which is exempted in every month, so it's not taxed. Okay, so that 1.5% of the gross income is usually exempted. That is the taxable income. So whenever you want to search for taxable income, basically taxable income is equal to monthly taxable income is equal to basic salary plus all allowances. Okay, so we know that the basic salary is 80,500. So it's 80,500. Allowances that are there, just I think it's the house allowance and the transport allowance, which is 25,000 and 14,500. So it's 20 plus 25,000 plus 14,500. But now you deduct the one that is exempted. Remember that 1.5% of the salary, 1.5% not of the salary, but of the gross thing. Okay, because if you take 80,500 plus 80,500 plus 25,000 plus 14,500 gives you 120,000. So that's 120,000 is his gross income, not the salary. So 1.5% of that is exempted from the taxation. So you subtract and the 1.5% of 120,000, okay, which basically is I think around 1,800 if I'm not wrong. So times 1.5 divided by 100, yeah, it's around 1,800. So basically you're just doing 80,500 plus 25,000 plus 14,500 minus the 1,800. So we know that this ones are 120 minus 1,800. So it should give you 118,200. So that is your taxable income. It's very tricky because if you just get wrong in the first question, you just you'll get wrong in other questions. So it's 118,200. Roman 2, the monthly tax paid by Mr. Tembo. Now the monthly tax also is very easy, so we need to find the slabs. So first slab, okay, so monthly income, this is just the monthly income. So for the first slab we take the 20,000. Remember this 118,200, it will reach above that. So yeah, so 20,000 times 10%. So 20,000 times 10% gives you 2,000. Then second slab, now for the second slab you take 35,000 minus 20,000. So if you take 35,000 minus 20,000, it should give you 15,000. So in the second slab we have 15,000. So we have 15,000 multiplied by, I think it's, if I'm not wrong, 15%. So multiply by 15%, which should give you times 0.15, 2,250. So this is 2,250. So in the third slab, again, because we have many slabs, we'll do again the same thing, 50,000 minus 35,000, which is also 15,000 again. So 15,000 times 20%. So 15,000 times 20% is 3,000. So it's 3,000 Kenyan shillings. Then we have the fourth slab, which most probably is still 15,000, but the percentage is 25,000. No, it's not 70,000 minus 50,000 is 20,000. So you should be very, very vigilant. So which is 25%. So it's 20,000 times 25%. Okay, so which will give you 0.25 times 20,000. It should give you 5,000. Then the fifth slab. The fifth slab also, let's search it up. 95,000 minus 70,000 is 25,000. So 25,000 times 30%. So 25,000 times 30% gives you 7,500. So yeah, 7,500. And the last one, which is 95,001 and above. So basically you'll take 118,200 to find the sixth slab. 118,200 minus it by the 95,000. So minus 95,000, and let's see how much does it give you. 118,200 minus the 95,000, and it should give you 23,000. So in the last slab, so it gives you 23,200. The last slab, which is the sixth slab, should be 23,200 times 35%. Let's see how much it gives us. 23,200 times 0.35 gives us 8,120. Yeah, 8,120. So now let's add up all of this together to give us our final answer. So our gross tax is basically 2,000 plus 2,250 plus 3,000 plus 5,000 plus 7,500 plus 8,120, which should give you 27,870. But I'll confirm it again. Plus 5,000 plus 7,500 plus 8,120 gives you 27,870. So that's our gross tax. So 27,870. But if you were to search for the net tax, so basically you take 27,870 minus the relief that's there. So the relief we told was 1,400. Just a small relief. So minus 1,400. So minus 1,400 gives us 26,470. So tamam, 6,470 shillings. and that is our answer. So the following deductions are also made from his monthly income: cooperative shares of 10,400, cooperative loan of 78,500, and union dues of 1,500. Kenya shillings determine Mr. Tembo's net monthly salary. So his net monthly salary is basically his gross, his income, which is taxable income, minus all deductions. So whichever deduction that you see, you'll minus it from there. But now let's find all the deductions that he has. So the first deduction that he has is this one, 10,400. We have a cooperative loan of 28,500. He pays that. He pays also 1,500. He also pays that 1,800, if you remember, for, I don't know, is it pension or something. So he pays 1,800 to affordable housing levy fund, right? And last one is this tax also. This is a deduction. Most people might think it's different. So yeah, so if you add all of this up, how much will it give you? 10,400 plus 28,500 plus 1,500 plus 1,800 plus 26,470. This gives you 68,670. His income is 120,000. You don't take the one which is taxed. You just take the whole income that he gets. 120,000 minus this one, 68,670. 670 should give you how much? So the guy is supposed to get 120, but instead he gives you only 51,000. That's ironical. So 51,000. So Kenya shillings 51,330. Na kuna rent ya mgojea pia, kuna saa, kuna fee. I wish the school fees was just part of the these deductions. I don't know how the government is working. Allah alam, this is not Dubai, this is Kenya. So all in all, this is the last question. So don't forget to subscribe. I wish I could post many questions, but due to the demand of students, these are the most probable questions that might come. This is not the exact questions that you might think. It's just prediction questions. So inshallah, next time you might get a similar question like this, and who knows? Only Allah knows. So don't forget to subscribe, share it to your friends in case you benefited it. I hope it ends well also. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, and I usually have classes. So tell a friend to tell a friend in need. Okay. Tell a friend to tell a friend in need.